next update in this video series for this Fair Ale Knit Along. And I just wanted to show you how far I've gotten on the body of the sweater. And I was really happy with the way the stitch pattern came out here with these diamond shapes. So this doesn't seem to need any blocking at all. It came out nice and flat. So anyways, was pretty pleased with that. The lesson for today's video is how to work the underarm gussets, and this is what the underarm gusset chart looks like here. And as you can see, kind of let go of my knitting for a minute. What you're going to be doing is increasing, starting from one stitch all the way up to, I believe these are 19 stitches. And so I've gotten all the way down to my last increase stitch, row, my last increase row. So you do, you have to do 2 gussets, one for each underarm, and the pattern tells you where to start the underarm gusset for both sides of the sweater. So you don't have, I don't want to, guys don't need me to explain that part. So really the only thing you need to learn how to do in order to do this is to increase 1 stitch. And the pattern doesn't call for the type of increase that you use, so I consulted my Fair Ale knitting book by Alice Darmore, and she said the lifted increase is the recommended method of increase. And so I tried that, and on the right side it's very difficult because you're always lifting one from behind the next stitch on the label. Next stitch on the needles, which was like, for example, it's kind of hard to explain, but basically you're increasing 1 stitch here, and then on the next row you have to lift it, create a lifted increase from that lifted increase. So anyways, I tried something else, and I'm going to show you how I ended up increasing my stitches on the right side. And then on the left side, it's no problem. I just did the standard lifted increase. And as you can see, this is like a checkerboard pattern, so there's nothing complicated. It's just every other stitch is your one color versus your other color. And this gusset is pretty short, so it goes by pretty fast. And just FYI, the first 3 rows are the hardest because you're really having to kind of squeeze those stitches in. So you have to be really careful with your tension. Make sure that it's not too loose and not too tight. So okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you the live stitches. So what I did was I created stitch markers for the gusset, and hopefully you can see here with the camera, this whole V section is where the gusset is, and you can tell it was just a wee bit too tight down here, and then some of my increased stitches got a wee bit too loose. So the checker pattern is looking pretty good in the middle, but on the sides there's some stretch stitches there, and definitely something to think about as you do yours, so you can learn from my mistake. It's really important to pay special attention to your stitch lengths and gauge when you do your underarm gusset. So fortunately this is not going to show, and it's just a practice sweater, but I'm not proud of the fact that it's not the prettiest looking gusset in the world, but again, it's just a teddy bear sweater, so it's just for experience and learning purposes, so I'm not going to panic about it. So anyways, I'm going to show you how I did my increases. So again, make sure you carry the same color of yarn consistently in the same hand, so that you don't have any problems with yarn dominance that I explained in my previous video. So if you can get the camera really close. So put this down so there's no glare. So basically what I do is in this case I'm going to start out with a brown stitch. So I put my needle into the back loop and pull it through as if to knit through the back loop, and then keep that same stitch on and knit through the front of the stitch with the other color, and then pull that out. And there I've made my increase. And then I just knit in the checkerboard pattern across the gusset section until I get to the next marker. So I'll just have you watch me do that. And I apologize, we're filming this at night with no special photography lighting, so I'm hoping that you can see this okay. I'm basically on the last row where you have to increase, so in order for me to move forward I needed to film this before I started on the decrease rows for the gusset. So we're almost to the end, and so here's my last stitch before I have to make an increase at the end of that row. So here's my end of the gusset marker and my end of the row marker. So I'm going to take these off for a minute, and then I'm just going to do a regular lifted increase. And basically what you do is you go to the back of the needle and put your, to the back of the right hand needle and put your, to the back of the left hand needle and put your needle through the loop from the stitch below this stitch. And sometimes it's just easy. Sorry, I need a little bit of lighting here. Since it's purple on purple, it's kind of hard to find for me right now. But I think I got it now with the better lighting. So I'm basically making the lifted increase here. Oh, I'm so sorry guys. It's hard to see with this lighting. Okay. So you're just basically making a stitch through the loop on the row below the working row and then pulling that up. And this is where it's important to have tension. You don't want it to be too tight, or you don't want it to be too loose, to keep the nice stitch sizes along the edge here. You can see it was pretty consistently doing well from this point, but I have some stretch stitches here. So you can fix that after the fact by taking some monofilament thread and tightening the stitch from the inside and shortening it up, and if you're worried about that. Okay, so now I'm going to put the end of the gusset marker back on, and then my end of the row marker, and then I'm finished with that gusset. So I'll show you, I'm finished with the increase portion of the gusset on both underarms. So I've just finished this row here, and then from the next row to the end of the gusset we're going to be decreasing on the sides of each side of the gusset, and that'll be a separate video. But before I end this video, I wanted to just provide you with one quick little tip that will help you, and I'm just going to stop the video and show you something. If you could just stop the video. Okay, so this is one of the books I have, The Art of Fair Isle Knitting by Ann Fettelstein, and this was my very first Fair Isle book that I bought, and I wanted to show you an exercise that I did for some of the sweaters. I tested out all the different yarns that were suitable for knitting in the round. This is Rama Finnelgarn from, and it's sold through Nordic Fiber Arts. That's one retailer online. I don't know if there's any others, but anyways, this is what the this is what a color chart looks like. And I believe they update these every year, or when they change colors. So it's important to keep them updated. And when I decided that I thought it would be really fun to make this pullover sweater where it has a yoke at the top, what I did was I looked through all the colors on my swatch chart and tried to identify the most appropriate colors that seemed to match the original design. And this photograph probably is not an accurate representation of the actual colors used, because when we do photography and then when you actually see this on the video, everything changes just a little bit. Your monitor, everything affects the color, but I really liked the overall color theme here, and just from matching up the yarns with the colors in the photo, I felt like I found a pretty darn good match. I mean, this pink matched that pink, this red matched that red, the cream, the blue, the green, it was identical, even though this was made from a different yarn manufacturer's yarn. I found super good matches with the Rama Finalgarn. And so what I did was I pasted here, or I taped here those yarn colors with their numbers, so when it came time to ordering the yarn, I had it all figured out. And then of course I could do a swatch, and if the dye lot was different from the swatches that I got, or whatever the case may be, then you can switch out the yarn balls, and most yarn shops will accept your return as long as if it's in the original condition that they sold it in. And there's a sandwater jumper in here that I also wanted to make. And see, maybe we'll stop the camera for a minute so I can get that page out for you. So here's another effort at trying to pick out colors that made a perfect match. And you can see there's some very close colors. Like this one I couldn't get, this was the closest possible one. Here's really close. This is not quite close. So there was some, like this seems to be more teal than light aqua. So I got some close matches, but not perfect matches compared to the last one that I showed you. And then I ended up taking the same colors that I thought made the best match, put it here, identified the color, and then when it comes time to ordering the yarn to make this pattern, then I've got it all pre-selected. So basically I just want to ask myself, because these weren't perfect matches with the original, which I really loved, I have to ask myself, okay, is this acceptable to me? And the one thing that I'm uncomfortable with is how bright that turquoise one is. So I'll probably do this exercise over again using a yarn chart from another yarn company and seeing if I can get a better fit. So anyways, I just wanted to share that. I had discovered this in my craft library and thought I would show it to you, hoping that it might be helpful to you. So thanks for watching. The next video is going to be doing the increase portion of the gusset rows, and I'll post that hopefully very soon. So again, thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'd love to answer any questions that you might have. And anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching.